All right, guys, welcome to the Kettleballers podcast. We are reporting live from Miami, Florida. And no, this is not a real podcast. This is the first time we're just having a conversation. So, my name is Wladimir Salas, and I am joined by Sam Ciaccia. Is that how you pronounce it? Everybody always, makes a thing about your last name, but
It is the question of the century. So technically, yes, it's Ciaccia in Italian, but I was misled my almost entire life that we thought it was Ciassi. So technically, it's Ciaccia.
Ciaccia.
Cha-cha-cha-cha.
Oh my God. So, welcome to the 305. How are you liking it? You've been here a couple days. You're enjoying your time?
I love it. Yeah, I'm just going to jump right into it. I can see myself here.
Oh, shit.
I
Bomb
love
dropping.
it. Yeah, I really love it. I love the energy, obviously the weather, the people. It's been such a great experience so far, and I see myself coming back a little bit more often.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I've lived here. Me and my family came from Venezuela when I was 9 years old. Did elementary school, middle school, high school, and some college here. And I've traveled a lot. Not as much as you, but I've gone, to 6 countries in Europe, South America, Mexico, and it's always a round trip. It's always a round trip because there's nothing like Miami, and I could see myself living here for the rest of my life.
What's like the number one thing that you love about it?
I think probably like just the people and the carefreeness. I mean, this, this came like it was a perfect example when the pandemic broke down and COVID, like the lockdown lasted 3 months here, and and then within those 3 months there was underground parties, there was house parties, everybody was just making jokes and memes, and while other cities and it's a real thing, people died and stuff, but here it's just like control what you can control, don't stress out, don't over fear things, and I guess a lot of people here just don't really give a fuck, or they're not really stressed out so much about whatever most people in the country or in the world are stressed out about.
Yeah, definitely I can feel that from the like beach vibe, island vibe. Here it's just like a little bit more slower pace, which is really a nice break coming from New York of 10 years. We are on the go, fast paced 24/7. So it's just like you get like a nice benefit of city feel. However, it's like you don't feel like you want to pull your hair out every minute of the day because someone's yelling or you're trying to jump rats or chase subways. So
Yeah, I mean, I go to New York often, and it's stressful. You're on the edge. You're on an edge every time you go. You're looking around the train. You're missing your train or whatever. The past couple times, I had the van with me, so I drove a lot this past time in summer because we did 6 kettlebell events in New York, including Atlantic City, New Jersey. So I was going all over the place, and holy shit, that was stressful. That was so stressful.
yeah, I can imagine. What exactly did you do with going around with the bands and everything? Because I missed you during that time.
I know. I mean, you missed me the last 10 times I've gone to New York City. so
A bit.
so with my kettlebell company, we started. I was like, okay, I'm brand new too. I'm a little guy, little company. So the best thing I could do is go out there and just meet people and showcase my kettlebells to people in real life. This was coming off from COVID, so our first tour was in 2022. It was a summer tour, so I had just released the full line of kettlebells on February. I was starting to do events down here, and then all of a sudden it's like it wasn't even planned. It was like, oh, I'm gonna do an event here. Oh yeah, and an event here. And then I was like, actually, no. What was planned was, so I have a couple ambassadors. So I was like, my 4 or 5 ambassadors. So there were Wendell in New York, Amber in Atlanta, Amanda in Cleveland, Ohio, Nicole, the Kettlebell Queen, and Jared in Orlando. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to those cities. I'm gonna do an event for them. I'm gonna bring all the kettlebells. I'm gonna take care of everything. Boom, they'll bring their people, and we'll do it. And then I guess like the people in South Florida started getting jealous, like, yo, get me in. And I was like, you know what? So the very first 3 cities, it was New York, Cleveland, Atlanta. And then after that, I was like, well, I know people here. And then I just started stacking weeks. So it was a span of 11 weeks. And it was a total of 10 cities. We had one weekend where we didn't do an event, and that weekend we worked like an expo here as a sponsor. So it was nonstop. But yeah, I had gone to New York City. The kettlebell community is huge over there, and all 10 times that I went to New York City, you were nowhere to be found.
Yes, I believe I was already my one-way ticket outside of the States in Europe at that time. But, it's amazing because word gets around, and what I really loved what you did was you built your brand so well. And even though we haven't met, I knew about you and knew of you through, our friends and commonality. And I remember when I first heard about the idea of what you're doing, I'm like, oh, it's amazing. It's never been done before. And I was like, this is genius for brand awareness and what you're doing. Because my next question is, would you do it again?
So, I took the opportunity, I saw it, and I was able to, I got the title pretty much of first ever kettlebell training tour. Yahoo Finance did an article on it. I have that screenshot. It's pin posted on my IG. So I'm like, all right, cool. I did it. But I would not do it again. It was so expensive. It was so expensive and so exhausting. Like, just, especially that one, that 2022, it was just going, imagine, it was 11 weekends. And 10 of those weekends, I was in a different city doing an event every other. I had a lot of, my girl Ashley. She was with me through all of them. Yeah, she made all the trips. So this is the tactic that we would do. All the South Florida ones were like, okay, whatever. We did like Hollywood, boom, and back. Pompano Beach, boom, and back. Orlando, it was like we stayed the night and the weekend over there and then back. But then when we started getting out of state, we would go Atlanta, drive to Atlanta, do the event, fly back to Miami, work 3-4 days here with my clients, my in-person clients, and then fly back to Atlanta, then drive to Cleveland, do the event in Cleveland, then take a flight back to Miami, work my work week because I still gotta work, and then fly back to Cleveland, drive to New York, and then in New York we should stay there for a while, for like a week, and then I had to drive down by myself, which it wasn't as bad as people or you might think. I like spending time alone, and I was able to really dive deep into like audiobooks that I wanted to listen to. I dove deep into a lot of podcasts, and that kind of drive down really like sparked up like some things that I wanted to change and where my business was going, and just like get back to, I guess, self-development, because for like 1 or 2 years it was just like doing, boom, release of this, boom, I bought the band, boom, I got a permit to do events here in South Beach, and sometimes you're just doing it and you don't stop and like see what's going on.
And also like stopping and reflecting is so important, because sometimes I feel like we get wrapped up in like what's not done and what we have to do, what's on the list, and you forget to look back and say, oh wow, look at everything that has been done, and in your case, nationwide, which is so cool. You're like, oh crap, wow, my brand and my van has been a lot of places.
I know. It's definitely, I'm definitely glad I did it, because those are seeds that you're just planting with people, you're connecting with people. I mean, it's a difference, my biggest competitors are Rug or Kettlebell King, and like nobody knows those people. Maybe the ambassadors on email like that give discount codes or whatever, but they're not in the trenches. They're not out here swinging with you. And not to mention a month before, I went to Colorado, April, to go snowboarding with Isaac, and I tore my shoulder.
Ooh.
Tore my shoulder. So I was like, man, I saw the tour flashing in my eyes. I was like, man, how am I gonna do all this with my fucked up shoulder? I'm literally lifting kettlebells in and out of the van and all this logistics. And but I was like, the show must go on. I started rehab right away. It was so sad because I couldn't do anything. You know, I couldn't like get a flow with people, get a flow with the ambassadors. You know, tap in on the fun. But yeah, it got done. So short answer, no, I would not do it again. I went to New York this past summer. 6 events, all in New York. I was like, I'm just staying in the hub. And then at the end of that, I left 50 kettlebells in Brooklyn in a little warehouse. And my kettlebells are there. So if I do want to go back this summer, I'll fly, rent a truck, pick a spot, do an event, get people together. But I am not going to drive.
Yeah, no, that's fair. What would you say is like the biggest takeaway that you felt? Because what I perceive that your biggest takeaway is community building, brand awareness. But what would you say you personally was your biggest takeaway? It doesn't have to be business related, but also like personal, because I know you touched on a little bit of self-development in those silent, lonely times. Just kidding.
So guys, every time one of us talks, I have to click the thing so the camera switches. So like, bear with me. It's my first.
He's
podcast.
Actually playing Tetris while we're doing this. That's really what's happening, and he's losing right now.
Posting on IG right now. So takeaways, man. I don't know. Like I will say just that, like the community, like being able to get closer to people and learn about their business, what are they doing and stuff. Because it wasn't just it was always an event, a class, and then some type of social activity after, whether it's brunch or whatever. We'll all go out, you know how it is. And then just learn about everybody's business, like their point of view, what are they doing, what's working, what not might be working, you know, and be able to share experiences with them and, you know, how things are in another city and things like that. So yeah, that was fun. All right, so enough about me.
See how I'm doing this? I'm like,
So all the people want to know, when did you start your fitness career? When did you make that transition? Because you come from the medical field.
Yes.
So give me like a little. Let's go back a little bit. Sam just graduated from college. What did she graduate with, and what was next?
Oh, we're going way back.
Going way back.
Oof.
Let me take you back.
Oof. So Sam graduated with a bachelor's in kinesiology. I was down at Temple University in Philadelphia. And during that time, I originally was a bio major, and I wanted to actually become a plastic surgeon. However, I looked at the years of schooling, and for me to be finished outside of a fellow, I would have been in my mid-30s, and I was like, oh no, I don't want it that much, because I respect the career so much, but I was like, I want to do, because I always wanted to dabble into fitness. So I switched degrees and got my degree in kinesiology, which is study of body movement. And a lot of people with that degree either go through like exercise science, exercise phys, PhD, master's, and I still wanted some way somehow to give back through health, because I always loved healthcare, and came across the profession of physician assistant. So I ended up minoring in biology and getting all the criteria that I needed to get into PA school, got into PA school, 2-year program, and now I am 23, graduated, practicing clinician.
Ready for the world.
23-year-old baby. And during that time, I always wanted to have some type of fitness involved in my life, because growing up, my father he did Olympic lifting, and a lot of our vacations were traveling around the States to his lifting competitions. So I was born and raised around the barbell, the gym all the time, and I knew it was just an innate passion that I got from my dad. I just didn't know exactly what that was going to look like. At that time in grad school, CrossFit was like really blowing up. So I was like, I'm going to be a CrossFit coach. So while I was in grad school, they actually sent out a email asking if there's any instructors to teach group fitness classes at the medical school. And I was like, well, I have a bachelor's in kines. I guess that's like good enough. So I applied and they gave me the job. So in between the 2 years while I was getting my medical degree, I was also teaching group classes. And you're going to laugh at this.
At a box?
No, at the medical school.
Oh, okay.
It was actually where the 76ers practice. That's also
nice.
a funny story. I accidentally fell into one who was rehabbing from a knee injury, and that didn't go well. But
uh-oh, your first bad client.
Yeah, exactly. The trainer was not happy. But so I created a class, and they gave me full reign. So like, all right, whatever class you want, you can design it, program it. So I was like, okay, Sam. I wanted to be geared towards females. And I was like, what are 2 things women always love to work on? Your butts and your guts or your abs. So I made a class called Butts and Guts. And it was so popular. Actually, they still have it at the medical school because it was that popular.
Trademark.
Yeah, right? Butts and Guts, girl. But I would have like events. We would throw rooftop parties. I would, bring all these snacks. We'll have a DJ. I would teach the class and we'd like hang out. It like became a thing in an event. And from that experience, I was like, I love this. I want to keep this going after I finish my medical degree. And fast forward to graduating, I was looking for jobs and I was just going up and down the East Coast, Miami, Tampa, Orlando, DC, Philly, New York, like all over. And at that time I was between surgery or emergency medicine. So out of all the places, now it's hard as a new grad to get certain specialty jobs. Like for example, emergency medicine, there's a lot of autonomy there. So usually they don't like taking new grads. So I applied to all these places, nothing, crickets. I was like, I need a job. I need a job. And then all of a sudden, 5 interviews from New York City came through. And I was like, I guess I'm going to New York City. So NYU, Montefiore, where were the other ones? Mount Sinai, all of those places interviewing for different jobs. And I landed upon emergency medicine in the Boogie Down Bronx.
Oh,
at
shit.
Monty. Love Monty. It was such a great experience. I pretty much got inoculated into New York City pretty quickly with that job. So I worked in emergency medicine starting off. But the ER career, essentially you work 3 days a week. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, only 3 out of 7? I can do something else. Not realizing the reason they only have 3 days a week is because they're 3 12-hour shifts, and they're very intense, very stressful shifts, and you need the break off. So as a 23-year-old, I was like, no, like, you sleep when you're dead mindset. And I decided, I was like, I'm going to get a second job. So I was between a dog walker, a bartender, and a trainer. Those are my 3 options. And, obviously going back to, I love teaching butts and guts. Why don't I find a studio in New York? And so I applied for this job on Craigslist. And they right away emailed me and they're like, oh my gosh, we'd like to have you come in. It was like this little boutique studio in New York, interviewed. And again, I came from a medical professional space. So interview is like casual business, showing up and not thinking a gym. They're like, where's your workout clothes?
What's wrong with you, bro?
Yeah.
What's wrong with this girl?
Exactly. Like, where are your workout clothes? And my interview was literally going through the class and my boss seeing if I survived or not. And he was like, all right, you can handle this. You're good. And got hired right away. So I started actually both careers at the same time. I was always working in the ER, always training. This was, I didn't tell you the time, this was probably 11 years ago now.
It was what, like a boutique gym?
Yeah, a boutique gym. It's called Epic Hybrid Training. They still exist, actually. There's one in Brickell here. Oh. They expanded, and it's obstacle course racing, monkey bars, MMA. Yeah, it's a really cool concept. We all did the Spartan races and all of that fun stuff. Crazy, crazy, crazy fun. So from there, I just evolved into group fitness, to programming, being a program, what do you call them? Project manager, but pretty much overseeing the programming of group classes and training trainers and stuff like that. And then ultimately, it just came into a conflict where my ER job was like, Sam, you can't ask all these days off anymore for you to train at the gym. I was like, okay, fair, fine. So my ER boss at the time actually suggested, he was like, why don't you just start your own business? You can create your own schedule. And I was like, oh yeah.
Wow, your boss was like, yo, why don't you just leave?
No, basically, because even after that, I was still, at that time, I went over to Jersey City Medical Center. So I was there commuting Manhattan, Jersey City, Jersey City, and getting taxed twice, which is absolutely insane.
No.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was not smart.
No,
but
just taxed once in New York is bad enough.
Yeah, exactly. It was New York State, New York City, and Jersey.
God, the double team.
Man. So later on, he was like, Sam, why don't you go back and just work in Manhattan? Like, why be here? I'm like, oh yeah, smart. I should do that. So anyways, I basically just started my own business, did personal training in the gym, created my own schedule, loved it, still time restraint. Then I was like, okay, well, how can I still grow a business? How can I still give, educate, help, teach while I'm working in the ER? So that's where social media started coming in. And my friend out in LA, she was really big into social media. She's a physical therapist. And she was like, just show people what you know. Show people, create posts. And she helped me really lay it out. And I would be in between patients and shift. I would like do a post, edit, see a patient, repeat back and forth.
Oh, wow.
And that's how I built my social media, was just in between times and shift. And that social media led into an online program. And an online program left to an online course. An online course is turning into an in-person certification. So it's so cool to see the evolution. Oh,
yeah. Bell Mechanics. Click that link in bio.
So it's really cool to see the evolution of how everything happened. And I was just kind of winging it, honestly, but passion-driven. Like, I always wanted to help with movement and knew that medicine wasn't the only avenue I wanted to target. And what's really cool is now, since I'm running my own business, I'm blending medicine and fitness together into one hybrid piece. So it's really cool. You can just create whatever you want. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm doing.
So when did you get into the kettlebell? Why the kettlebell? Why did you choose the kettlebell? Your company's name is Bell Mechanics, which is awesome. So when did the kettlebell come in?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that crazy gym I told you about?
Yeah.
We taught kettlebell classes there. And I remember, I'm like, oh, if I'm teaching, it probably makes sense for me to learn how to use these. So shout out to any new trainer who is teaching classes or using kettlebells. Please learn from someone who knows what they're doing, professional group from Bell Mechanics. I'll teach you to use them correctly so your clients and yourself will not get hurt by them, because there is a learning curve to them. Anyways, back to that. I did some investing into who I wanted to learn from. Basically, the two big kettlebell companies at the time were RKC and Strong First. And I decided to go with Strong First, took the certification. And what I really loved about it was the intricate details that they got into for how to work the bell, how to do it safely. They do have a hardstyle strength focused, and I really enjoyed that. So I was that student that went to the 2-day cert, had my little manual, and then for 2 years, I just sat in that manual by myself at the gym and went through every little thing, underlying, making notes, recording myself. Because when I get into a project, I want to make sure I know it like the back of my hand before I feel comfortable teaching it to someone else or my clients, because if something happens, that's on me. So I took that time to really make sure I knew what I was talking about when I taught the kettlebell. And then little did I know, it turned into what we now call Bell Mechanics. It's kind of wild.
Yeah. I mean, people always kind of ask me, oh, what kettlebell cert should I do, and all of this. I always point that way. I did mine with RKC, but they're, Strong First came out of RKC, and some people see it as a turnoff because they only teach 6 kettlebell exercises, the big 6, and whether it's one kettlebell, 2 hands, or a single arm, or double. But the attention to details, and you see it in other trainers that, Man, I know you didn't spend 16 hours swinging your life away, like perfecting that fucking swing. Like, after you're done with that, sir, your whole nervous system is like, like it's just so taxing, and because it's just repetition, 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 and obviously we all know the harsh testing, the snatch test and everything else, and it's just about perfection. So I still believe that should be your number one. There's a lot of kettlebell certifications out there now, which teach a lot of other stuff like rotation and pivoting and stagger stance or V stance, and but I always like to say master that the first six, and then just play around because the way I see it, if you don't know how to really like be impeccable with those basics, then your clients are gonna get a little bit off, and then your group training is gonna be a little bit off. You're not gonna know because we know and we spend all the time. We know what to look for. Oh, that's a little off. Actually, your shoulder, you're rounding your shoulder a little bit, or you're bending your elbow, whatever, and it becomes almost like an elephant game. Like, is that what it's called? That when you say a word, you pass it to someone. Not the phone game. Yeah, the phone game. Yeah. So like they could get away with doing it without getting hurt, but then they pass it on to the clients, and then they don't see what we see, and then they get hurt. So it's like master the basics, and then play around, juggle everything. Nothing's off the books.
What I love about kettlebells and how I view it is human movement is human movement, right? A hinge is a hinge, a squat is a squat. A ballistic hinge is a ballistic hinge, whether you're using a bell or medicine ball. And I really love looking at kettlebells through that lens. So then when we're just looking at movement patterns, we can be more creative. We can be able to, okay, if we understand how this hinge works, then we understand where we should be rotating if we want to tap into rotating. But mastering the basics, 100% agree that it's already overwhelming within itself. Like the course I run, the online course is very user-based, meaning like you're learning the how-to, and the amount of detail that we get into, but also the level of people that come in and out, it's varying. So it's just like, how can we teach the principles behind it so then we're not getting locked into black and white. We're not getting locked into this is how it is, this is how it shouldn't be, but like, let's think about it. And this is where I really think I shine in that area because of that medical background and the really true understanding of biomechanics, hence bell mechanics and physiology of what that looks like, and how we can take those concepts and apply it to kettlebells or just movement. I just like to say I teach human movement through the lens of kettlebells and make you really, really good and really, really strong at, I like to say, I can get your technique sharp so that you can make heavy weight look really light because you're just so on point with that technique.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say is, some people blame the kettlebell and like, whatever, it hurt me or whatever. And like, if you're moving shitty with the kettlebell, chances are you're probably moving shitty with your body weight. Like, there's animal flow, and I didn't do animal flow cert, but I did I did a durability cert with John Wolf and Sean Hine at On It, and it was just body weight, but being able to control your body weight, being in those quadruped positions and the kick throughs and things like that as a tripod and controlling it. It's when you have the bell attached to you right here nice and tight, it's just your body weight with a little attachment. So you should be able to move well with your own body weight. And I think people just get caught up in the shiny object syndrome. They see all this crazy shit on IG, like, whoa, look at that tactical snatch to windmill and reverse lunge and all this. Let me give it a try. And then, like, bro, your deadlift sucks. What are you doing?
Oh, yeah, that's very true. And, there's nothing wrong with obviously doing that stuff, but there are people that are doing it and doing it well are advanced. They went through the initiation of getting the foundations in. And it doesn't mean that, You need the foundations. Let me rephrase this. Meeting the foundations of movement, like you're saying, like proprioceptive awareness, understanding your body in space, understanding what a hinge is, differentiating from a squat, understanding where your positioning is when you're trying to pretty much blast a bell through mid-air. Like stuff like that, those concepts need to be taught. They need to be, so then you're not on the floor figuring out how to do this. Or when you're going in the windmill, it's not a lateral side bend, it's actual hip hinge, stuff like that. So it's great to get into those advanced movements, and they offer a lot of benefits. The skill acquisition is high, right? I didn't feel comfortable doing that stuff probably until after at least the first year of my own training, second year in, but doesn't mean it's not obtainable as long as you just know what the heck you're doing.
Yeah.
Get the right guidance.
I'm kind of lucky when I first started kind of getting into kettlebells. I didn't follow fucking anybody on IG that did kettlebells.
That.
Nobody. So I was just doing my thing. I have my 212 kgs. I was just repping them out. So it's crazy. This is probably how I really master all my stuff. So I used to work for Crunch Fitness. That gym closed down, and they were closing down, and everybody's like, whatever. And I was like, I heard that they were gonna throw away or sell pretty much all the equipment, and I was like, well, I guess they're not gonna miss these kettlebells. So I've never bought any kettlebells. My first two kettlebells were 212 kgs from Crunch Fitness. And then the pandemic hit, and I trained maybe for like a whole year or at least 6 months with just those two. All the double work I would do will be with 12 kg, because I had a little heavier ones, but they will be just single. So I just really hammered down those basics with the 12 kg like for a while, and then then I didn't get heavier doubles until my company launched them. And then now I have double 16 kgs. That was the first release, 8 kgs and 16 kgs. And then I didn't have doubles until the other line came out. So I literally, by force, I was forced to just, I was like, I'm not gonna fucking buy kettlebells. Like, I was forced to just stay on my own lane, stay on my own row, and then boom, boom. And now, obviously we have everything 44 kgs, and I could play with them safely, but it's just giving yourself the time, and I guess it's hard. I mean, maybe it was easy for me because I didn't look at all these people doing all this stuff. I was just literally doing my own thing, whatever. I know how to press, I know how to swing, and all these things. But some people really, really do get caught up, and they don't remember, or they don't know that the many reps that these people were doing.
I actually really love that, because what I'm finding with especially like my students now, if they're going for a certification or if they're finishing a course, they feel like they need to master it by the end. And like, no, this is the beginning of your journey for the rest of your life. Like, I'm still trying to work on my swing, and I'm 11 years in, you know? And I always try to reiterate and continue to reiterate, like, give yourself that grace, give yourself that space to continue to learn, because it's not about going to the end game of mastery, because there is no such thing as mastery with this. It's just you get better and better, and maybe one day will be crap, the other day will be better. So it's like, let's take out the timeline, take out the end zone, and just saying this is a continual practice, just like we talk about with yoga. It's a continual practice that you just keep going, but there's not an end goal, right? There's not like an end range where you're like, okay, I've mastered yoga, move on to the next. No, right? You just keep doing it for the rest of your life, or however long you decide to do it. Same thing with kettlebells. And yeah, I really think that if we can just get that out of our mindset, then it just takes so much stress and so much pressure off of us and my students. So guys, listen, it's not a big deal, okay? You're doing great.
I know, and also the weight, because it's so different with kettlebells, because it's like, all right, you go from this color to this color, from this weight to this weight, and it's like the next up, and you just want to climb up the ladder. And don't be in such a rush, because there's a limit. You get to those 56 kg, like for me at least, like, man, I'm a goblet squat that thing, and that's it. And I'm gonna swing it, and that's it. It reminded me of, I don't know if you know him, Tom, and shout out to Tom in Long Island.
Oh, yes.
He will, whatever you tell him, he will say, yo, lift fucking heavier. Lift fucking heavier, which is true to growth. But don't be in such a hurry. Don't be in such a hurry, man. I'll master your movement, because you start getting shitty reps, and then maybe you could get that one rep, and then that's when you get hurt. Like, your muscles could take it, but your joints or tendons cannot, and you don't give that little brace period of like developing that strength on your joints and tendons, and then that's when bad shit happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true. That is true.
All right, so what does your program include? What is Bell Mechanics? How long is it? What do we do inside? I signed up today. Boom, you took my money. What do I get?
I take it a run. I don't know what you're talking about.
So I'm out to Greece.
Sure, right? That's how I know. Joking. So Bell Mechanics, I always designed it and envisioned it to be beyond Sam, with how I'm talking in third person, beyond me. And there's different facets to it, avenues. So if you're a trainer or coach, I have the Bell Mechanics course, and that course is really diving into the details of movement, right? So for example, you sign up today, we start next week. I do cohorts, so we kind of go together for the 12 weeks, and you have your week laid out for you. The information drops on Sunday. You go through there's modules that you go through. So
every Sunday, the info gets dropped for the week.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, so you have your modules, and then you go through them yourself, and at the end of the modules, you have a quiz. It kind of quizzes you based on your retention rate, as well as an assignment. And in that assignment, essentially is related to the module, like practice this, blah, blah, blah. You submit that, it gets sent to me, I give you direct feedback, which I think is a really cool perk to the course, is because it is run in a group cohort setting, but it is very personalized, and I want to make sure that you're getting the attention that you need, especially because it's a very detailed, high learning curve for kettlebells. And then we meet for lecture, and essentially I just expand on what the modules are and get into more details about certain things. And I break up the sections by week, chapter by chapter, and by movement. So for example, chapter 1 is like proprioceptive awareness and breathing. I'm just teaching you how to understand your body in space, how to breathe, because as we just talked about, we need to know those basics first before we can even dive into how to hinge. Because if you don't know your foot from your head, how am I going to teach you how to hinge, right?
Yeah.
So we just go through week by week throughout the 12 weeks, and then we have group practice sessions, and you have an exam at the end. So basically just test your knowledge and just going through all of, encompassing what's in the 12-week course. At the end, you get a course certificate, and what is going to be new come January,
listen up.
New, is going to be the official trainer certification. So part of the certification is the didactic, which is the course, and then the practical, which is the 2-day event. So you have to pass the online course 80% or more to be eligible to come to the 2-day event.
And that's in person.
That's in person, yeah. And in that in-person event, we're really going to be focusing on training that coaching eye, how to cue, how to put ourselves in practical situations so that you know how to manage that at the floor and when you're working with your clients at the gym. And that's something that I took from my medical schooling, because that's how, as a clinician, that's what I had to do. I had to take a written exam, and then I had to walk into a clinical room with a patient, and essentially my professor is grading me, and I would give in a situation. 35-year-old female presents with chest pain, EKG looks like this, what would you do? And they would grade me on my professionalism, how I would interact with the patient, and actually what the protocol I would take to help this, whatever it was. So I'm just taking that and putting it into the training world of like, okay, Vlad, you're getting tested, right? We're in testing day. Okay, you have Susie. She wants to learn how to kettlebell swing. Take her through step 1 through 5 and how you would progress her to a kettlebell swing. And obviously I teach you that in the course, so you're not just like blindsided. Yeah. And then it could be troubleshooting, like, Susie is hyperextending at her lower back. What could be the likely cause? How would you cue her? What drill would you give to fix her? So really getting to the coaching aspect. So when you go out into real life practicing on the floor with kettlebell exercise, you know exactly what to do, and you're well prepared to train and get someone sharp with the kettlebells from ground up. So that's like, wow. Yeah, that's ultimately what it encompasses. And recently, this past week, I was thinking about, like, yeah, it's a certification, and the certifications I took in the past were very, like, education dense and kind of like,
Yeah.
I wanted to be a party. I was just like, we're having meet and greet Friday night. Everyone's getting to know each other. Saturday morning, we're having challenges. We're having things in between just to make it more fun and exciting. Because why? Why not?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm so excited about, is the, like, community aspect and having these parties inside a cert. So all I just want to do is have fun, right? Why not? Why not have fun and learn at the same time?
Shit. KB party.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh my god. So that's awesome. So when was your first launch?
January 2022.
January 2022.
Yeah. It was such a pivotal moment in my life and my career, because I was still working in the ER. I was still living in New York City. And I worked in the ER through COVID. And that was traumatic within itself, as you can imagine. And I thought it was just my ER job. I was just hating going to. I was like, maybe it's just the hospital I'm at. So I switched hospitals and actually go to a really great hospital. It was like an ideal place, Lenox Hill, for practitioners to work in. And I was working there, and I was like, I'm still unhappy. Like, the job's great. My colleagues are great. I'm still unhappy. And then I knew it was like, your burnout is too much. And I didn't realize that the average burnout rate for an ER clinician is around 8 years, and I was hitting near 9 at that time, so that kind of made sense. But I was like, okay, well, like, I have a training business, but it wasn't financially, like, running the show yet. ER was still kind of supporting it until the course happened. So in order for me to essentially get out of the ER, I needed a certain number of people to join the course. The first time I launched it, that number doubled. Whew. And I was like, oh, this is okay. And then I launched it again in May. That number tripled, right? Yeah. So I was like, oh, all right. Okay. Like, this is a thing. So I essentially gave my boss a notice and left the ER, left New York. And I was like, well, I'm fully online. Why not just travel? Because a lot of my clients were overseas and all around the world. So I wanted to network, meet them, kind of see the gym scene, see the fitness scene all over the world, because my idea and my vision, it was always to be global, not just to stay within the confines of New York, nor within the confines of the United States, but to get worldwide and world known. And I was like, well, I got to put in the footwork, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
So that's when I booked my one-way ticket to Lisbon, Portugal. And I was gone for 8 months. 8 months traveling all around Europe, Middle East. I was on my way to Dubai. And my goal was to make a loop around the world, but I got sidetracked with a little health issue. So I had to tend to that, come back to the States and get taken care of. And that's how I am here today, back in the States. Otherwise, I probably would have still been overseas at some point.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Sam, she's like what you call a fitness gypsy. She like, I was like, when was the last time you signed a lease? I'm like, she should be going back and forth.
Facts though.
I mean, if you don't have to stay in a place, why stay in a place? Be like the birds. That's what I'm trying to shoot for lately. I really pivoted my my business when we talked earlier about reflecting and then just spending time alone. This at the beginning of this year, I was like, all right, I need a break. It's been fucking roller coaster in 2022 with the fucking tour, with my torn shoulder, with the release of the line, with the start of the 305 Kettlebell Club and events, and I was under a lot of heavy stress, a lot of drug using, like a lot of drug. Like I told my friend once, I was like. I told him everything about the year, and he was like, damn, man, like, how did you sleep? How did you do it? And then I think back, and I was like, holy shit, I was doing drugs almost every fucking weekend. Like, if there's 53 weekends in the year, there must have been, like, 3 weekends that I did not do, like, cocaine, ecstasy, or marijuana. Marijuana was an everyday thing. Like, that's just the regular stuff. So whatever, it was a rough year. It was just a lot. I wasn't saying no to things. I was like, yo, we got this event in New York. You want to come? Yeah, fuck it, I'm down. Boom. And then I was just, it's just opportunity, chasing opportunities, which is fine. But obviously it led to burnout. And then this year started, and me and Ashley were like, oh, let's just do dry January. Actually, we from the get-go, we were like, let's do 3 months. So we did 3 months of complete soberness, no nothing, no alcohol, no THC, no CBD, nothing. The weed was definitely the toughest part, because I've been smoking weed every single day for the last 5 years. I will tell myself the excuse, oh, it helps me wind down, because as a business owner, when it's time to go to sleep, you start thinking, oh, maybe I should do this, maybe I should reply to that DM, maybe that could lead to a sale, maybe this and that, or maybe boom, and then I would lose sleep. I would lose sleep for like an hour, and then I would go to sleep. And then the weed would kind of help me out and stuff, but whatever. Obviously, that's an excuse, because I'm doing it now, and it's working. So yeah, I did it for 3 months sober. It gave me such clarity and vision of what I wanted. It made me realize where my business was, what I wanted to do, and something that really helped me out. I started reading a lot. So I would do this thing in the balcony where I would sit out in the balcony. I'll put a timer, 60 minutes. I'm gonna read for 60 minutes. Now, I don't have to read for a full 60 minutes, but I also cannot do anything else. So if I needed a break from the reading, all I could do was stare out into the clouds and give myself some time to think and reflect. And man, that shit did wonders for me. I was just like, I would read, but I would also just like kind of like daydream a little bit and just started, and I was reading mostly like, self books, business books, and it was just put in perspective, like, holy shit, like, how the fuck was I running a business last year, doing all this shit, not being so focused? Like, it was out of control. Literally the turning point was like, damn, my business is a fucking joke compared to like these guys that are like not fucking around, these like top level CEOs and all of that. And that's what I aspire to be. So where was I going with this? So pretty like to the point where there was a point last year that I did not know how much money I was making in profit per kilo that I was selling in kettlebells. Like those little numbers, like data spreadsheets, like you gotta know all that shit. Like if I was to present or get investors involved, like what would I present? Back then I was like, dude, I don't know, I have great kettlebells and great community invest in me. Like what the fuck? So that was a big turning point, the first 3 months of this year, and like just having that time to think, because in today's world where your piece is getting stolen by everybody, their phone, your apps, people, whatever, you have no time for yourself to reflect, and it's needed. If not, you gotta stop. We're in the go world, especially you coming from New York. It's like go. And if you don't stop to think and see where you are, one, be grateful, and two, where are we going? Because, I forgot what this quote was, but it was basically like, if you don't know where you're going, any way will take you there, something like that. So it was like, wow. So yeah, that was like kind of like a boost that gave me a big up, and it's been I've kept the momentum all of the year. I did break my soberness on March. At the end of March is Miami Music Week. It was like the perfect timing. We're like, let's do 3 months, and then for Miami Music Week, fuck it, we're going to party, we're going to space. We did party. I got off the routine, my 5 a.m. routine, waking up early, reading, and fuck, man, the whole party week was like a week. And it took me like 3 weeks to get back into the rhythm. And then that's when I started playing with my head, like, damn, like, it's just, you can't be like half in, half out. And so I smoked weed again. And then I was so fucking foggy the next day. I was like, fuck, like, I feel like I need a Red Bull. And I just woke up. Like, I just slept 8 hours. I'm so foggy. And then that's when, like, the idea, I was like, yo, it's just, you gotta stop with all this bullshit if you're for real. And last month for my birthday, 29th birthday, my last year, my 20s, I was like, you know what? I need to go all in. I'm going all in. So what I'm shooting for 12 months of soberness, all in on my business. And one of the books that I read during that period of the balcony sessions, it was the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, and wow, I was like, what the fuck, like, because before the kettlebell business, I was dipping my toes on online training. I had like maybe 4 clients, paying me the monthly fee, helping them out. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, like nothing. Like I signed these people, I didn't even get on a phone call with them. I was like just DM game, boom, 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 here's the link, pay, here's your program, follow this, blah, blah, blah. I didn't have no structure, no nothing. And then, and so that's what I wanted to do. I filmed all like 500 videos. I would go every Saturday morning and Sunday morning with my boy Josh. We would just film. So I had this huge library, and then, I started the kettlebell business, and I just completely put that to the side. The 3 months of soberness gave me clarity. That book was like bro, remember all those 500 tutorial videos you filmed before the pandemic, and like the type of business that you wanted back then for you and your life? And then that was like definitely I need to get back to online training, because I want freedom. I want to be able to travel the world 90 days if I want, 60 days, whatever. And I want to be like Sam the Gypsy.
In the next interview, who do you inspire? Actually, you're like, I want to be you when I grow up. I'm like, you're older than me, bitch. But no, I think you're so right on that, as far as like having a vision, having the clarity, and going after it, being a go-getter and not letting things kind of like clog you in the way. And, as you realize that like the drugs and the partying was a clog, and just kind of just kept you from really proceeding forward. And as I was listening to you talk, I'm like, but it's so important that you knew and had a vision going forward, because I feel like when people don't, then they'll just stay wherever they're at, right? They'll just say like, oh, well, I guess I will smoke this joint, or I guess I will go out and party because I don't have a deadline on Monday, or I don't have an important meeting on Tuesday. But when you start putting things in place and making actionable steps towards whatever that set goal is, then you are going to, make better decisions, or have a chance to make better decisions. Like, oh, all right, well, maybe I shouldn't drink as much because I do have an important meeting on Monday. And I realized that helped me a lot, especially when I was traveling all of last year. And like, mind you, I gave myself, like, I needed that year. I needed that year to just like get out of New York, do my thing, like let loose and just kind of rediscover who I was again and who Sam is. And so I would say I always have like themes for the year. So like 2022 was that theme of just like rediscovering who I am. This past year actually got changed into like just how would I say it? Restoring my health, restoring myself, restoring like my vision and plan. And 2024 is growth. All I see and everything that's lining up from now to the end of the year is just going to boom and grow 2024. It's just like, okay, like there's seasons, there's moments and times, but what has always been consistent is that vision. And when we were talking the other day about the 4-Hour Work Week, it's kind of wild. I have my own personal story with that, where the year before I moved out of New York, I bought that book and was reading it. And I actually put an Instagram story and pretty much like goals on this book. Little did I know that was April 20th, 2021. April 19th, 2022 was when I had my one-way ticket to Lisbon. And I'm like, holy crap, within 1 year this manifested. I had no idea. Like, I thought it was going to take eons to get to that place, where I can run my own business and travel the world and teach. Like, I was on this beautiful beach in Croatia teaching a lecture. I almost was tempted. This is funny, actually. I almost taught a lecture hiking Mount Kilimanjaro. because I became friends with a mountaineer and wanted me to go on the hike. But I was like, oh, it's in the middle of my course. Like, I got to teach. And I know the Wi-Fi is pretty shoddy in Africa. A week later, he comes back. He was like, yo, I got a portable Wi-Fi router for you. You can come.
He's like, yo, come on. I got this shit.
I was like, are you insane? No, I cannot be teaching a lecture on the mountainside of Kilimanjaro like that.
No offense, but I don't trust that shit.
Yeah, I know. But I joke with that now, but low-key I wish. I'm like, dang, I should have done that, man. Because I know my students, they would have been like, this is so dope. But it would have not been a lecture. It would have been like, hey, here, you know. Yeah. But it's just wild of what you put out there. And I'm a true believer in learning more and more of like, envision it, see it, write it out, speak it out, talk to other people, put out. I'm all about like putting out my stuff and just saying, this is why I envision, this is what, because you never know who you're talking to and how they're like, oh, wow, oh my God, I know this person. They can help you out. That's happened to me so many times, and how I'm able to progress even in this year of like, I had to take the first quarter off. So pretty much my business was working at like half capacity this year. And still with that, it's just like going. And I'm like, I'm trying to keep up with it. I was just telling a girlfriend of mine today, I'm like, things are just happening that I'm trying to like keep up to speed, because it's just like one thing after the next. And I truly believe it's because I'm putting it out there. I'm saying, this is what I believe in. This is what I'm doing. I'm not sure how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen at some point.
Yeah, man. Whenever you have a vision or whatever, and then it starts to happen, the universe kind of rewarding you for your effort, and like, don't be fucking complaining. You wanted this full plate. Let's go, baby, because there's another plate coming up. Let's go. Up and up.
Exactly.
Oh, man. But yeah, it's so important to have that vision, because it becomes, like for me, when I kind of had my vision again, and I was like, okay, this is where I want to be, this is what I want to do, it became a lot easier for me to say no to shit. Yeah. Like, because basically you put yourself goals or whatever, what you want to do or accomplish, and every activity, it's either taking you away from there or it's taking you towards there. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as staying in place. Staying in place, you're going down. You're getting away from it. So it became, once you have a clear vision, and you have to have a clear vision, then everything else becomes easy. And it was haunting me, man, that the partying and everything. It got to the point where, yes, we'll go to the party, whatever, substances, alcohol, everything, boom, 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 having a great time. But I was not having a great time, because in my head, my inner self, I knew that the shit that I should be doing, which is not this, that this is taking me, you know what I told myself? I was like, no, this is fun. This is good for your health. Like, you're having fun. It's like, yeah, okay, but not fucking 3 times, fucking going to the club for 8 hours, seeing the sunrise, and like, yeah, like, and not every fucking weekend. Like, yeah, you need to have some fun and enjoy your life. But like, no, it got to the point where it was, every time I'll be in the party full of anxiety, thinking about the things I should be doing, thinking about how much away I was getting from the vision. And once you have it clear, it's like, that avoid this shit, avoid these people, avoid that. It's not going to take me where I want. Do this, stay in your fucking lane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one thing that I really learned this year. Like, essentially what you're talking about is creating boundaries and coming to the place of like, my time, I am valuable. My time is valuable. My business is valuable, and who I allow in and around is very precious, and it's not anyone gets to hang out with Sam. Not anyone gets to hang out with Vlad,
Wow. I'm hanging out with Sam.
But I think everyone should feel that way. Everyone should have that sense of self-worth, sense of self, I want to say it's not arrogance. I think it's just valuing your time. So it's why I was, meeting up with a couple friends that I haven't seen in a few years. And I remember back in those conversations a few years ago, I was in a completely different place back then. And the conversations are great, flowing. And now that I have completely changed, these conversations are like, oh man, like what are we talking about? It's drama after drama and
Oh, shit.
one thing after the next. And I'm like, this is not saying conversations have to be productive, but it's not uplifting. It's not like inspiring. It's not helping me.
Not the fucking vibe.
Yeah, it's not helping you. Like, what's going on here? And that was a really big aha moment with some of, you know, the people that I've interacted with. I would say like recently. And I'm just like, okay, good to know. I was like, this is just information. I'll probably never reach out to see you again.
It's a mental check. Like, okay.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's notes. Okay. I think that's completely okay to really value your time, because if you're on a mission and if you have goals to set, like you can't let that stuff weigh you down. You really have to say like, yes, no, if this is helping me achieve, or if I'm helping you, and if this is I don't want to say the word productive, but this is, you know, of value, and you get to decide what is of value with you in your life, then cool. Everything else, snip, snip. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
So.
You gotta be harsh. You gotta be harsh and sometimes selfish with your time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I would say, I think I'm a bit more adamant on this because in the past I wasn't. And working in healthcare, as you can imagine, we're completely giving of ourselves all the time to our own detriment. And I've just done that so many times of give, but I had an empty cup. There's nothing to give anymore. And I was like, okay, I got to fill myself. I got to be able to, you know, make sure that I'm taking care of Sam so then I can help others, but not just be a one-way street type thing. And, you know, it took me a bit to get there, but the maturity in that, it's just been so freeing and just a more enjoyable in life, and not everything has to be hard. Not everything has to be a eye roll or draining or anything like that. So it's just like, life is just more enjoyable now. It's so much more enjoyable now.
Yeah. And then the good thing about that too is, you know, at the beginning it's hard because whatever, maybe people hit you up to hang out or whatever, or they invite you to do stuff that, you know, is not productive. Mm-hmm. And obviously it's tempting. It's tempting, you know, to go back to old ways or old habits. But once you pass that little time period, like, that's it. You made it. You made it to the other side. People get tired. You know, they're not going to always chase you and like, well, that's it. You know, they're not going to invite you anymore or whatever. They know not to hit me up. You know not to hit my phone after 9 p.m. because I'm not leaving the house. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, and that's great. I love that. I love that boundary setting. And yeah, I think everyone should have that. And the cool thing is you get to decide what you will allow and what you won't allow. You know, it's all you. You have all the power in that. Yeah.
I think I told you this earlier, but it was like people will never know your standard if you don't set it.
Yes, absolutely.
So you have to set your standard. You have to be like, yo, this is unacceptable. What's wrong with you? Like, you know, like, plan a meeting or whatever, late cancel, or you're done. Mm-hmm. Like you don't get 3 strikes. It's 1. That's it. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Yeah, my standard just went up with the $12 coffee that I just bought from this.
Welcome to Miami Beach.
This 5-star hotel is charging me a $12 coffee, and I was like, "Where am I?" I was like, "Am I this person now?"
Oh my god! No, yeah, I know. Shit is rough out there. Shit is rough out there.
I can't get over it. Like, I want to talk about this for a while now. Like, $12 though? Like, Miami, like, come on, guys. Even New York doesn't even have that.
It's like, listen up, guys. New trauma. Well, yeah, it happened to me the other day. I went, I was like in my building at the bottom, there's like a health bar, you know, very healthy, very popular too. That's the problem. And, you know, $7.50 for the coffee. All right, whatever. And then I was like, you know what? I always like ice stuff because Miami is hot. So I'm like, oh, just do it ice. Another $1, $8.50 for the iced coffee, as opposed like, yo, you're charging me $1 for ice. I could have gone upstairs to my apartment, gotten my own ice. And man, I always tell myself, you know, we work from home most of the time. And I always tell myself, I gotta get out of the house, go to a cafe, or maybe, you know, just get out because you're sometimes you're cooped up in your desk and it's so funny because like, yo, we want a life of freedom and all this stuff, but sometimes you find yourself in a fucking cubicle with the online clients and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to get outside of the house, but like sometimes it's like, fuck, what a waste of fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get much done. I had to like commute to the place and back and set up the whole setup, and maybe you forgot something that you needed. You got everything in your desk, and then the fucking $12 coffee or whatever, and it's happened to me twice. I always think twice because like before that that instant I was like, okay, let me get out, and then I went and the fucking Wi-Fi wasn't working at the fucking coffee place, and then the fucking fire alarm was going off like for 20 minutes. I'm like, I just stayed home. Like,
just take the L. Just take the L.
Take the fucking L, man. Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we have some questions that some people wanted to know a little insight. So we're gonna take care of those questions before they kick us out of here. We kind of running past our time, but fuck it, we'll see, guys. We'll see how long we stay here talking.
So we touched on a few things, but these are actually really good questions. I'm gonna start with starting out. How would you recommend dealing with potential clients and budget restraints? So we're going into trainer talk now.
Trainer talk. Ooh, budget restraint. I think the best way to kind of maneuver this is you have to really dive deep into what they're trying to accomplish. One, kind of like find their pain points. Like, why do you want to train with me right now? Why haven't you done this alone? That's the first question I will ask people when they will, like a kickoff call or whatever, or kickoff session when I used to work at a gym. Like, all right, why are you here? Like, what do you want? Like, it's not what you want, but like, what do you need? What's going on? Why are you here? And because the whole internet is full of information for you to achieve your goals. All of it. It's all about application. So find the real reason they want to get in shape. And it's painful. Some people are painful. A chick might say, oh, I want to lose weight to, just to look better. But in reality, I want to lose weight because me and my husband haven't gotten intimate in X amount of months or whatever. That's the real reason. So if you're not digging deep enough for the real reason, you're going to have objections at the end of the session, the kickoff session or the call. And then with that, there's also legit money budget situations. So you got to ask, what are their habits throughout the session, the kickoff session? Hey, how many times do you eat out? How many coffees do you buy out? How many times you go to the bar? How many times boom, boom, boom? Then you need to start making tallies in your head. Okay, so you say you go to Starbucks 5 times a week. That's it's not $12, but maybe $6 or $5 a week. Okay, that's $60 a week in coffee already. You say you eat lunch twice a week. Okay, we'll put it at $25. That's 50. Boom, we're at $120 a week. Okay, what else? Oh, you go to the bar twice. You go out and have drinks. That's at least $100 a week. Boom. So we're at $220 times 4 weeks. You're at $900 or $880, and you're telling me you can't afford it, but you're spending all this money in this, and this, and this. Now, I just gave you the logical reason. And if you cut all that shit out, you're going to get to your goals even faster. So that's one way that you could kind of object that, oh, I don't have money or it's not in my budget. Well, you got to create a budget for it. I saw a post yesterday that said, investing in your health is something like within the line, investing in your health is always worth it. Like, pinch pennies somewhere else, not in your health. Pinch pennies somewhere else, because it's gonna be worth it. This is the only body you get. The only body you get. People love to take care of their cars and all this stuff, and that shit is replaceable. Even that Ferrari with a nice interior, you crash it, you could get another one if you have the money. This, you crash, like my fucking shoulder will never be the same after I tore it. And it's your health. And this is like kind of like exterior stuff, like interior disease and all that shit, that sometimes that's forever. You're never going to get rid of. So investing in your health is, always a good idea. Is pinch pennies somewhere else.
I actually love that answer. And it's ultimately helping them. You have a sales background, don't you?
I mean, I've been in sales all my life.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, your answer was so, like,
you want to know?
Because that was not my answer. And I was like, oh, I like his answer better. I was just like, suck it up. Like, this is my price. Take it or not. And you're like, I was like, oh, his is much more logical. It makes a lot more sense.
Oh, my God. So it's funny because I've always hated sales and I always avoided sales. But, like, my very first business, I was fucking 13. I was, no money, obviously. So I was like, what can I sell in the school that was going to sell? We'll go to Walmart, buy a pack of candy for $25. They will bring, I think, 25 candies. I will sell the candies for $2. No, it will bring 50 candies. So I will sell the candy for 25 to 50. I will have a big ass cargo dicky pants. One pocket here, another pocket here, another pocket, and then the back pockets for the gum. And then so I have like Snickers on one pocket, Skittles on one pocket. I wouldn't even say good morning. I would be like, hey, want to buy candy? You want to buy candy? And then, man, people knew me as the candy man. This was in
You're the candy man.
7th grade.
Oh my God, I am sitting here with the candy man.
You remember the candy days. No, I still talk to a lot of people I went to school with, and they remember the candy days. But yeah, I've been
Speaking of candy,
been doing business for a while now. But all right, shoot us with another question.
Okay, so let me unlock here. So the next question is, how do you assess your clients? There is so many things you have to look into. It gets confusing.
Take this one.
Okay, man, I was about to open my Haribo's. Okay, fine. So, I totally agree with you. I remember when I first started off as a trainer. I love how I'm speaking to the mic. I'm like, hello, Mike. When I started off as a trainer, I took all the certifications, SFMA and CFC, CSCS, all the things. And I was so overwhelmed by all the assessments. But the more that you're into it, the more that you're learning, you find the common denominator between the assessments. And the cool thing about that is you don't have to necessarily do specific tests. All you need to do is just to watch them move. Get them moving right away, right? So like my assessment, if you came in with me right now, I'm like, yo, we're squatting. I want to see what a front-loaded squat is for you. And while you're squatting, I'm starting to pick apart and see where some restrictions are. With that said, that takes time. That takes time with understanding like that hip shift back might be related to a ankle dorsiflexion issue, right? So I think there is a time and a place for starting off to have some specific tests, but not getting lost in it. My best recommendation is to have one that resonates with you, stick with like a system for now, really get good at that, and then maybe learn something else. But ultimately get into getting them moving right away, because we can get so wrapped up into an hour long of like a full-on assessment, and then we're kind of like losing the value of the time or the purpose of the time. Where I get into specific assessments is when there's an issue going on. So let's say we've been training for a while, your squats are fine, but you're noticing a little something's off, or I'm noticing something is off, and that knee just keeps like varus stretching out too much. I'm like, okay. Then I'll get into more details. All right, let me look at the joint above and below. Let me look at your ankle joint. Let's see if it can move properly. Okay, cool. Let's look at your hip joint. Maybe that's related to it. So that's when I get into specifics, or if there's pain points. When they're like, I'm having right shoulder pain, then I'm working on a little bit more detailed assessments. But my biggest advice is just learning a system and getting people move right away and going from there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. Just do a quick checklist. Like, weak ass glutes, whatever, boom, boom, boom. Obviously they'll tell you their history too, so you'll know where to look to, any injuries, any limitations, any surgeries, and all of that. But yeah, don't get too wrapped up in this perfect assessment, and because people hire, they hire you, not the gym. They hire you as a coach. Just be there with them and just guide them through the way. And then if you don't know, you always got to be honest. Like, hey, I don't know the answer to this question right now. I'm going to look into it. I'm going to reach out to, other professionals, and I'll be back. Don't just lie or fuck it, run through it. Yeah, fuck it. Like, just be honest.
Yeah, that's the best thing. And we have to remember our bodies are not fragile, right? Like because I know for me, I was like, it has to be the perfect plan and the perfect program. And the reality is there is no perfect program and or plan. So it's just like, get them moving and you'll figure it out as time goes on. Obviously, we're not like having them do crazy stuff like balance beam and handstand work when they're not like, it's standard training sessions, squat, hinge, deadlift, push, pull, core. Like if you stick to those basics and just assess those, bam, you're good to go. Like right now with my online clients, when I onboard them, I have them squat, I have them deadlift, I have them do a plank hold, a push-up. Depending on if it's kettlebell related, I'll have them do the kettlebell skills that they want to work on. And technique-wise, that's pretty much all I have them do. And then from there, I just kind of assess. Or if I have some a little bit older, I want to check their balance. I'll have them do like single leg holds and see kind of if there's anything going on there. But literally, squat, hinge, push, pull, boom.
I think the plank is such a good one because especially when it comes to kettlebell stuff and creating tension, like some people, they have their ass up or they're not really engaged. I love to tell them like, yo, see this mat, try to separate the mat with your arms and really create tension because all that is going to translate to the kettlebell. And I really love the single arm plank. That shit is so hard for anybody. For me it's hard, 15 seconds is hard, but once you start swinging that bell single hand, it all translates. All right, let's see what else we got here. This one right here says, how do you get started when you're brand new? I'm assuming she's a brand new trainer. My best advice is, I know we're in the era of entrepreneurship and business owner and all of this, social media, like, yo, go work for a gym, son. Go eat shit for a year or two. Go work for a gym, go work the floor, learn how they sell their packages, learn the techniques, learn everything, learn how they get customers, how to talk to people, how to customer service, learn everything, write it down because that's going to be a blueprint for your business. So, I think that's the best route. Because you need reps. You need reps. You need reps and reps and reps. You need, shit. I feel bad for some people that I train on fucking Crunch Fitness. Like, I was fucking horrible. But they love me still. Like, I was a shitty ass trainer, but they love me, I guess, because of my charisma or whatever. But you need reps. You need bodies in front of you. It's just, that's the bottom line. Go, if you're brand new, you just got your CPT, you're a personal trainer now, go work for a gym, see how the business is run. Because eventually, if you want to be a business owner, you're going to have to run a similar type of business on your own. So, you'll have mentors there, you have managers that will teach you the ropes, you have lead trainers that will teach you things, you will meet more educated trainers, and then, from there you decide what you want to do.
Yeah, what I would tag on to that is the gym. I see that as like a mentor, like having a mentor. It could be a gym. It could be like the gym guiding you throughout, but just having something or some system in place to help guide you, because when you're going through the reps, you're going to have a lot of questions with those reps and need someone to help kind of guide you throughout that way. So designate in who that mentor is. I mean, I still have mentors even now that I've been in business for a while, and it's just very, very helpful to kind of like allow the process to be a little bit more smoother. And the other thing I would add is when you're starting brand new, how do you want to fit in the space, right? So there's different like purposes and goals for different trainers, right? So like there's some that are strength and conditioning focused, some that are prehab focused, or some. So just finding out like where you want to place yourself or where you want to at least kind of have the guidance in that area, and then go down that line, because the fitness industry is large and it's huge and it's overwhelming. And how you might ask, well, what if I don't know where to start? And then I would continue to ask you and say, well, where do you find your strengths? Where do you feel like you excel? Because usually that's where you should be going along, because it's just your strong suit and where people will gravitate towards you a little bit more. So finding your strengths, discovering who you are, figuring out what that looks like from a business aspect, gaining a mentor, joining a gym or becoming a trainer at the gym, and then going there. You really can't go wrong with that direction.
Yeah, and then to her point, and to the other point of the reps, you're going to be working with a whole bunch of different type of people that have different type of goals, and then you're going to test and try out, hey, did I like working with this kid for his athleticism for volleyball, or did I enjoy rehabbing this person from an injury, or did I enjoy bodybuilding with this person? Like, you will find what you kind of enjoy and what you kind of have more passion for, and then from there you could kind of, okay, I kind of like this style better, so I'm gonna maybe take a specialist certification towards this way and see how that goes. Don't also be, I mean, education is fucking great, but don't be that person that takes, you know, personal training certification and then goes on to take 5 or 10 right off the bat. Yeah. You don't have any fucking clients, bro. You better get some clients first. Get some clients. That way you could implement everything you learn on those certs. Like, if you have all these certs and then you never implement, you're most likely gonna forget, paid all that money for nothing. Like, get clients. Don't get caught up.
Absolutely, yeah. I see that so often when it's just like, I take this, and this, and all of a sudden you're 5 certifications deep. I'm like, okay, apply it.
Or how many clients you got? You're still making $0.
Yeah, right? Like, don't be a forever student either, you know, because that's a thing as well.
Yeah. Totally.
Okay, we good for, let's do one more?
Yeah, let's do one more. You pick.
Okay. So I really think this is a great one. How do you optimize your time working/training? I think that's a great question because I really ask myself that all the time too, of like managing your own, especially working an online business. I'm not on the floor anymore. I'm not, you know, moving around. So I become a lot more sedentary and I have to plan. And I think that's a key word, is planning. I have to work on, okay, every day. So back in grad school, our schedule was so busy that I had to plan out every minute of the day. That's how intense it was. And I was like, okay, I know I was there before. It's not fun, but I can get there. And sometimes when it's heavy or big in the, like, you know, something's happening with the business, pretty much the night before, I pre-plan the whole day out. Obviously, there's like things are going to be changing in between, but at least I have a skeleton and an outline. And within that outline, I'm saying, okay, this is designated workout time, whatever workout time that works for you, but have that set scheduled time. Just like you were saying with the book, right? You're going out, this is 60 minutes designated to just reading. I don't have to do it the entire time. It's the same thing we're working out and just making sure that you're on a schedule. With that said, first-handedly, be on a program. Get on a program. Have that something to look forward to. So I was on a program for pretty much the year, even sometimes when I couldn't even work out, just to know, like, okay, well, today I would have done this, you know, instead. Because right now I'm off a program and I'm going insane. I'm like, I need to get on one because I'm like a lost puppy. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
It's crazy because I mean, people do it all the time. You get to the gym and they're like, all right, it's like, what can we cook up today? What we gonna freestyle? What we gonna eat? It's like it's crazy. And then one thing for workflow, I started doing that. What you said a while ago. Writing the things down beforehand. It's gonna leave you up anxiety because your mind is always gonna be running. Oh, I gotta do this. I know I gotta do this. I know I gotta do this. But if you write them down the night before, top priorities, and then another 5 things that you gotta do, and man, that dopamine hit when you check that little shit off. Ooh, it feels great. It feels like you have your life under control. Like, okay, I got, and then you know you hit all of them. You're like, great. Like, okay, plan out for the next day, and that's one way that I like to keep organized and you know, maximize the little time you got. Like, if you say you're short on time, then you gotta crunch out something out. Lose a little bit of sleep to get what you want. You know, it could be temporary, but you can't be wasting time if you say you don't have time. You can't be watching 2 hours of Netflix every day if you say I can't work out because I don't have time. Come on, bro.
Or how much we can easily get sucked into the Instagram hole. And you're scrolling just real quick. Every time I'm like about to make a post and then I'm 20 minutes in scrolling. I'm like, wait, I was supposed to make a post. So like taking screen time, and that's just something I want to touch on for a second, because especially if you're running an online business and social media is running it, you gotta create boundaries with social media. And like what I have found that worked for me is checking it 2 times a day. In the morning, checking messages from the night before or whatever, going through the DMs, and then at night, whenever I usually post at night. So I'll put the post up, and then 30 minutes, I'll wait, check the comments, blah, 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 and then off for the rest of the night. Yeah.
Wow, that's a great one.
And then pretty much let it overnight seep through. Everything's, everyone's creeping in and making all the comments. And then the morning, bam, back to it, right? And 2 times a day, that has helped my mental health immensely.
Yeah.
Of just like gaining more time back to me.
I definitely need to get on that game, because man, it's fucking rough. I'm running 3 accounts. My personal, Wladimir Fitness, a kettlebell supplier, the 305 Kettlebell Club, and fuck, the most annoying thing is, okay, I need to, whatever, I did something on my personal, I gotta go do something on the Kettlebell Club page, boom, I go, and then, this is the most annoying thing, I click on a story, and I already fucking saw this story, bro. Like, I already saw this, I'm watching this fucking story from this specific person again. So, it's such a distracting world. Like, yes. Right now I have a timer set, like if I go over it, kind of locks you up. But yeah, that is a great workflow. Like, 1 in the morning, 1 at night, post and done. Like, you gotta go in there with a purpose. If not, you're gonna fucking lose your mind.
Mm-hmm. And then I don't know if I mentioned this before, but the do not disturb feature on my phone, that's on 24/7 now. I love it. I don't have to look. Oh man, that and sleep. I go from do not disturb to sleep mode at night, and then back to do not disturb when I wake up.
I only got 2 moods: do not disturb, sleep mode.
I'm telling you, that has helped my mental health and everything immensely. So I just discovered this, by the way, this year. And I didn't realize that this has been a thing in the iPhone for a while now. And I'm like, my life is forever changed.
Wow. But what's the difference between sleep mode and do not disturb?
Nothing at all. It's just mentally me. I know it's like
okay, like get your ass to bed, pretty much. Okay, yeah. I have do not disturb at 9 p.m. Like after that, that's it. But yeah, you got me thinking about when you said that the other day. Like, maybe I should, I think I'll get there. Not disturb throughout the whole day.
Because it's going back to power, right? You get to decide when you're ready to check your messages. Because when you see, if we're sitting here and a message comes through, your mind's already tracked. Like, who is it? I wonder what they're saying. Versus like, I will check my messages at 3 o'clock. They can wait. Yeah.
And everybody can wait. It's never, it's never like that. And like when people check their emails on their phone, knowing damn well you're not gonna answer on your phone. Like, I don't answer emails on my phone unless it's like an emergency. But why are you gonna check it? Don't check your email if you're not gonna answer. It might just fucking ruin your day. I always tell Ashley when she brings the mail, I'm like, fuck, nah, don't be bringing that mail over here. Don't
bring that negativity
to me. Why
are
you fucking the IRS? Fuck, no, why are you bringing that shit over here? Oh my god.
That's funny, but true.
Well, I think that's our time for today. Once again, thank you guys for joining us. This was completely random. You can find me at Wladimir Salas 305 on Instagram. My kettlebell company is Wladimir Fitness at Wladimir Fitness, and my kettlebell club is 305 Kettlebell Club. Website WladimirFitness.com to shop kettlebells. We are running a Black Friday sale right now, 20% off with code BF as in Black Friday 20% off, free shipping all over the US. Sam, where can they find you?
That is a great deal, man. So y'all can find me personally at Ciaccia or SCIACCIA. And then my company is at Bell_Mechanics. Or if you're interested in wanting to learn a little bit more about the courses and tutorials that I offer, you can go to courses.bellmechanics.com. I'll be there.
All right, guys. See you guys on the next one.
Bye.
We don't have a name for this podcast. Holy shit.